Don't miss a beat, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined as always by my co-hosts, Lauren and Bruce, and today we are, like I said, not missing a beat. Last time on Fleetway Sonic, we defeated Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah.
And this time, we're gonna see some new stuff and some old stuff. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, we get to see at least a bit more of the consequences of beating Robotnik.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. We're starting here with Unnatural Disasters, Stringer and Elson. The weather is out of control in Metropolis, and Sonic needs to investigate.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Day of Fury from Archie is happening now.
Not exactly.
Not quite, but it is
a big climate problem.
It is, yeah. That's an interesting equivalency, though.
Oh, I completely forgot about right before the Day of Fury. The weather goes crazy. Okay, you're right. It is a lot like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Echidnapolis being like snowed in, which is
right.
But Metropolis is completely snowed in. Sonic is helping these kids get home safely.
I always like seeing the freedom fighters helping people.
Yeah, I mean, just being reminded that they're members of a community and not just the Robotnik fighting squad.
Exactly. That's something Archie kind of skirted around.
Yeah. But the snow stops being a problem real quick. It just suddenly heats up, and now we go from too much snow to flooding.
Yeah.
This comic, I think, does a pretty good job at showing the aftermath of Robotnik's defeat, because some people take refuge in a little boat here, and then one of the people is like, oh, it's got to be the curse of Dr. Robotnik that's causing the weather to go crazy. Like, they're still in fear of him even though he's gone.
Yeah. Sure, it's like we have superstitions regarding Robotnik.
Makes sense.
Which is a neat thing to add.
Yeah.
We wonder if it's the apocalypse, and oh no, the nerd dude falls overboard. I really wish I remembered his fucking name. It's Norris. But it doesn't matter that he fell overboard because now it's frozen again. Also, that hail, it starts hailing and it's like the size of fucking baseballs. Yeah. But they pointed out this weather reporter to Sonic earlier, Wendy Wallace, I believe she's called.
I believe so.
And Sonic's like, that has something to do with all this. I guess
because they're accurately predicting all the crazy weather.
Right?
So, yeah,
makes sense. Yeah,
this is what happens when you're too good at your job.
Right.
But no, Sonic is actually right. He goes to confront her and discovers she has a weather machine, and she was originally going to use it when working for Robotnik, but she's angry because now Sonic defeated Robotnik, so she can't do that anymore.
This is what happens when you actually have a lot of people that are really in league with Robotnik, and seemingly it's like a mutually beneficial relationship. Like, he betrays people sometimes, but not those that are like really loyal to him.
A lot of those people he actually does keep around. I mean, look at Grimer.
Right, exactly.
It is realistic in a way, you know, when you depose a dictatorship in real life, there are indeed some jobs that disappear, and they may have been jobs that people got invested in.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, being a scientist with a weather machine doesn't make you much of a physical fighter.
Sure.
Sonic beats the machine easily, and it creates a tornado, and she gets sucked into the tornado, and then it explodes. So is she dead?
Yeah, did Sonic just kill her?
Well, he tries to grab her hand.
Well, admittedly, not really his fault, but like...
Yeah, I don't know.
It all depends on whether they return.
Sure, yeah.
Indeed. But
I doubt. But you never know, I guess.
I mean, this comic very well could.
Yeah. But Sonic makes a bad joke because that's a trademark of Stringer, and that's the end. Seriously, anytime you see a comic written by Stringer, expect it to end on a pun or like a play on words or something.
I never noticed that. Interesting.
Neither did
gonna
I.
start looking for it now, but
Yeah.
that's not a problem for this next one because Kitching wrote it. This is Whatever Happened to Supersonic, written and drawn by Kitching.
I've been asking myself that question for a week.
Yeah, and
Holy art.
yeah, absent his power, memory, and personality, Supersonic looks for answers.
And he gets them in his nightmares.
Yeah, I really
yeah.
like this drawing.
It's wild.
He's so scary. But yes, we have this horrible monster illustration of Supersonic. Oh, he's so evil, he's killed everything. Oh no, he's coming for you now. And then Supersonic wakes up because he's still docile and living with those old people from before.
So this is very strange for multiple reasons, but what sticks out to me is that apparently, like, that was from Supersonic's perspective, that Supersonic was going to, like, kill Supersonic. So it seems like there's an evil version of Supersonic that is somewhere in the back of Supersonic's mind, which is ironic because Supersonic is already an evil version of Sonic. How far does this go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me what it came off as, like, Supersonic's true personality trying to reassert dominance or trying to scare him.
But that is an interesting point to learn, which is, where did this personality come from that's not that?
No, that's a really good question.
Can we separate evil Supersonic from good Supersonic, and then that one develops its own conscience?
That is exactly what I was thinking.
Just a recursive army of Supersonics.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know.
The Brotherhood of Gold Alex. That's
God.
a terrible joke.
We're used to those here.
Yes, he's living with the old people from before, where the wife, she's sympathetic to the brainalized amnesiac, but the husband is like, oh, I hate him, he's a moocher. And he even gives us a Robotnik made the trains run on time.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna...
Once again, people reacting in not the way I expected to this change of status quo, I must say.
Yeah, there are always some people that are pro-dictatorship.
I mean, did this guy work for him? Whatever. That he doesn't need to have worked for him to anyway. But their marital squabbling is interrupted by Supersonic, who says, "Yeah, I'm leaving. I gotta leave anyway."
Yeah, I gotta go. Figure some shit out.
So your problems are gone. I need to find my memory. But Grandma gives him one party gift, which is she takes Grandpa's beer money and gives it to Supersonic. So he goes and just barely misses Amy and Johnny, who are tracking his energy. We're like, what's up with that?
Yeah, apparently, at first they're like, it's fine, let him leave. And then they're like, wait a second, we probably shouldn't let Supersonic wander around. And now they're tracking him, but a little too late because the signal's way too weak, apparently. Even though it's literally right next to them, I don't, like, how do they get the signal, but they can't tell where it is when he's right? That must be really, really weak, apparently.
I mean, he is low power, so that does make sense.
Yeah, but it means that this story doesn't have much of a conclusion. It's mostly just about how he's still out there.
It concludes with some very silly art of him, like, waddling off.
Yeah, although that's kind of just how Sonic characters are drawn in this in general. That like duck-footed walking is everywhere in this comic.
This was just the first time I noticed that.
No, it is funny looking. Yeah, kind of just a story to bridge the gap. So we'll see what they do with that later. In the meantime, we have DIY Danger, Stringer, and Corona. Sonic hangs out with Roger, a handyman who loves DIY projects, even when he absolutely should not do it himself. Yeah, we're in Jade Hill Zone, which I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10 for accuracy because I could see that being a Game Gear zone.
100%.
Yeah.
And hey, Lauren, you got what you wanted. We're seeing a zone leader here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So that ridiculous comic still has relevance in the continuity. Very good.
Indeed. This bird guy is the governor, and he's opening a bridge for, I don't know, about 12 seconds.
Yeah,
It collapses as soon as one guy walks on it. Because the builder of the bridge, Roger, is a complete amateur, but is just like, oh, I love DIY projects. I'll do whatever, even when I shouldn't, as I said.
Just let him have fun, damn it.
Have fun is different from contribute to a public project and extremely screw it up.
Tomato, potato.
Yes, indeed, two very different things. He says it's not his fault, and then invites Sonic to dinner.
Well, Sonic saved their life, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he like falls in the river and Sonic has to get him out. It's weird because the river doesn't look very deep in the first shot, so it's like, am I kind of glazed over that? It's just like, yeah, whatever.
Mm-mm.
But we do go to his house to be nice, I guess, and he has a robot butler that is a repaired trooper robot.
Their wife also, their first reaction to hearing that Sonic saved their husband's life is, wow, you want me to thank you for that? They're thinking in their head.
Yeah, she does not want this man in her fucking life. But, yeah, his robot butler is a trooper, and I want to note here that this is one of the core differences between the world with Robotnik and the world without, is that there are still badniks here and there. There's almost no troopers.
Right, yeah.
It's always an event or something important when one of these shows up now. So, yeah, and case in point, Trooper Bot is still active. It still fights Sonic.
Yeah, no, I assume this only happened because Sonic showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably, hedgehog priority one like SWAT bots.
Exactly, yeah.
But, yeah, they fight and gradually destroy more and more of Roger's house while, the thing has an internal crisis between being a killer and a butler. And then, finally, it gets too confused and it self-destructs.
Rip in peace.
And, it completely destroys the house, and, the wife is like, oh no, now he's going to do even more DIY projects.
At that point, just take away his power tools.
Yeah, Sonic is like, Roger, I'm sorry, but you suck. Don't try to fix it on your own. And I think we've all known at least one person in our life who tries to do everything themselves, projects like this that they're not prepared for. Frankly, I'm related to someone like that. But yeah, that's the end. Silly little story. It's fine. But moving swiftly along, we get to crawling from the wreckage. Stringer and Elson, the freedom fighters, discover something horrible under the rubble of Citadel Robotnik. And hey, this drawing of Amy in the first panel here is the one that like all the wikis use for Sonic the Comic Amy.
I knew I recognized that art.
Well, frankly, this drawing of Techno gets used a lot too. But yes, they're searching the wreckage of the Citadel, and well, Techno's scanner is picking up some life signs. Wonder what could be here.
There's a slight mention. They're like, I wonder if it's Short Fuse, which reveals that Short Fuse is missing, apparently.
He has still been gone for a while, yeah.
Unfortunately, instead of finding Shorty, we find a cult.
Yes!
I like this, actually, though.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah, they call themselves DRAT, or the Dr. Robotnik Appreciation Tribe, which, I'm gonna be honest, every time these guys came up in my notes, I just referred to them as the Cult of Robotnik, but
yeah,
I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know if I like DRAT
better.
as much. But
no, the Cult of Robotnik is fair.
I don't like the ridiculous acronyms for the evil teams.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those either.
Yeah, we're not gonna see, thankfully we're not gonna be seeing more of Barf. Remember Barf?
Oh, God.
Yes, of course, that's what I was thinking of when I was saying that. But these guys, their name isn't quite as bad, and their presence is much better. Yeah, I obviously before I was like, okay, yeah, some people are unhappy with Robotnik being gone, but like this is next level. But once again, I can see this. I mean, Robotnik went hard with the oppression and the force basically centering on Robotnik to ridiculous extent.
Yeah, all the propaganda.
So I can see this happening with some portion of the population.
Yeah, it's a cult of personality, of taking to a literal extent.
I don't know what's up with this orientation where you have to stand with one foot in a bucket of orange paint, though.
It looks
Cults
like
always
they're
have
making
weird initiation.
I don't understand that part, but it looks like they're making a mustache with their hands, so that at least makes
Yeah, that part I get.
That-
And
yeah,
I
that
do like
tracks.
the Chicken Man leader here has like a gold chain necklace with a Robotnik nose and mustache on it.
I didn't even realize that's what that was until just now. I thought it was just like a gold bow tie, which
Yeah.
now that I say it out loud makes absolutely no sense.
The initiation chant is really the completely unhinged part of this, though, because they're like, oh yes, of course, Robotnik is a terrible person, but he's still our rightful master. Like, they're completely there's no hope for them.
It's total indoctrination.
Which, thankfully, the freedom fighters stand very much against. They're not standing for this. They're going on the
They
offensive.
immediately jump into action.
Yeah. For about 5 seconds, because they're not the most powerful. None of these three are the most powerful, and they've got strong offensive weapons, including an eggmobile with big arms. Not the big arm, but an eggmobile with big arms.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of impressed. Like, despite being insane, people also really like to follow in the spirit of Robotnik, so they arm themselves.
Yeah.
They also they give the big arm, the not big arm, to the newly recruited guy that we saw at the start. So like that's a lot of responsibility to start out with.
This is the real initiation test.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
They're actually kind of more like spring arms almost.
Kinda, yeah.
But unfortunately, he's not very good. He takes one swing at them, misses, and then bounces it back and hits himself.
You know, the funny thing is that actually, I would say he succeeded, because I could see this being a way you damage an Eggman boss.
Yeah, it's what is it? Flying Battery Zone. The mini boss is kind of like that.
Yeah, where it attacks itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, that guy gets bopped on the head, but then the rest of the cult, I guess, runs off. It's really weird because this one guy, they fight him, and then okay, so they run away. He chases them. Okay.
Yeah, it leaves plenty of opportunity for them to escape.
This one guy got hit hard enough, and he's like, learn a lesson and knock it on the head? Is that
British
a saying?
terms, probably.
I guess.
The British don't know how to speak English, don't you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 5-page story, but it makes the most of its page space, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've revealed that these guys are showing up again, which makes me happy, because I was like, this seems like it's just a simple introduction story. So
Oh, yeah.
if they do something more interesting with these guys later, I'll be pleased.
Yeah, I'll be very happy to see these guys again, because this is a fun idea.
Oh, you should always hope that fun ideas continue. Fun ideas such as Captain Plunder. He's sticking on the comic. He's still here.
I'm
They're
so glad.
always like kind of out of place, but in the best way possible.
Essentially, yeah. This is Captain Plunder and the Spice Maidens, Kitching and Dobbin. I want to say, by the way, that when I first saw this story in the table of contents, I read it as Captain Plunder and the Space Maidens, and I was like, are we getting, like, alien babes here? But no, it's just a Spice Girls joke.
I hate to admit how long it took me to realize it was a Spice Girls joke.
But, yes, Pirate Queen Zorabelle comes to Captain Plunder with a mission to seek out the lost treasure of King Akatek.
Accurate, yes. Very good.
Yeah.
That is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
First, however, Plunder is up to his old tricks, although he's wizened up just a little bit. He's decided, okay, I really need some more crew members. So instead of just beating them up and kidnapping them, first, I'll try and trick them. And so he has Simpson go and hide for a minute, and then he's like, my good pal, do you want some treasure? And the guy's like, something's wrong about this situation. Like, he instantly knows something's up because Plunder is not good at this at all. And he's got a map that says super old, but the ink is running. And then he's like, well, I tried my best. Get him, Simpson. Unfortunately, Simpson apparently earns his, like, reputation among the other crew because he just whacks Plunder instead of the dude.
Yeah, he's not the sharpest knife in the crayon box. And the dude just runs. I'd say he runs off. It looks more like he walks off. He's not even that concerned, honestly.
No, it's pretty clear that everyone around here kind of knows Plunder a little bit. It takes this guy a little bit to recognize him, but I must say. I like it sometimes, but unfortunately, this is a sign of things to come. This story will be dunking on Plunder a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Not that the comics are any stranger to that, but he goes through the ringer in this one.
Yeah, more so.
He's about to make cat stew because, he's very mad at Simpson. But Zorobel is here to interrupt and tell him, you're taking my 5 daughters on your crew. What?
You know.
Well, she knows he needs crew, so take them.
Crew, yeah.
But it's like, it's a big, weird question mark moment. But it's funny because he has this memory. And she says, "You remember my daughters, Captain?" And he's like, "Yeah, kind of." And he imagines them, I guess, as little girls.
Right, imagine them as children.
Yeah, they go to a shady bar where these women are all out beating the shit out of people.
I like to imagine that they didn't get into a bar fight because someone was hitting on them. They just do this for fun.
It's just a perpetual bar fight. They don't say that's why, so maybe.
No, yeah. I just like to imagine they just wanted to get into a fight.
Yeah. Frankly, I wish we'd continue with that, but we actually just jump cut to Zorobel's house, where we actually meet them. So yes, the Spice Maidens, Spice Girl, whatever, but they're actually named after spices: cinnamon, nutmeg, coriander. I don't know that one.
Coriander.
I don't know that spice. Pepper.
Coriander is the same plant as cilantro.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's the seed.
Ah, okay. But yes, Zorobel is like, I'm sending you girls with him because I have a treasure map and we want to harvest the treasure from it.
Yep.
And then Plunder is like, I'm sexist. I don't want women on my ship. Because
Can't believe it. An otherwise flawless character marred by this.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Flawless.
If you had to give those traits to somebody, it kind of makes sense that the doofy, morally dubious pirate captain would be it.
Well, I think that also does track because that was also a myth for a long time in various navies that women on ships was bad luck.
Not saying it was a good myth now that any physical position or crew, people are like, oh, women can't do it as well as whatever.
Right? Yeah. So giving the pirate captain the sexist belief makes sense.
It's not as if real pirates were really progressive heroes.
Not particularly.
like theft on its own doesn't do that to you. But anyway, they knock him over.
I think if we're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit, I think this is half an excuse as well, because clearly he likes kidnapping his crew or just forcing people that have worked with him to come along with him. Whereas these people are like, oh, we're coming on your ship and you can't tell us no. So this is not the relationship he's used to with his crew members.
Fair.
And certainly he doesn't want to share.
He doesn't like right. Well, he does. He likely just also doesn't like that he's being told who his crew is going to be.
Yeah, but they knock him to the floor, show him who his boss is, say we're doing this like it or not. I think it's mostly that he's like the friend that has a car, and
he's the designated driver.
Yeah, it's like we need your boat more than we need you. I guess he can probably sail. I don't know.
Yeah, but, certainly.
I mean, he probably has a few members of his crew right now, so they can run the boat. Anyway. Or is he fully out of crew? I didn't catch that.
Zorobel kind of takes command all on her own, but yeah. But anyway, let's move on from this.
We've got Filch, we've got Simpson. There's at least one other person too.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, Filch and Simpson are the only important ones anyway.
Yeah, but we set out, the map itself does not actually lead to the treasure, but it leads to Krakiota of Skull Rock, which is a sea beast that supposedly knows where the treasure is. Now, on the map, it's like, that's just a big eel, how is the killer monster going to be any help, is what Plunder thinks. But we're doing it anyway, and well, the joke is that Skull Rock ends up being not much of a skull or a rock, and Krakiota, likewise, is just a tiny talking fish. Unfortunately, we've got the you get 3 questions thing, so you know exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, the standard trope.
They are going to fucking waste them, but it doesn't matter because within one page, we waste all of the questions, and then Simpson's like, "Don't worry, I'm going to cook and eat him." And we established that Simpson is a good cook, so that's funny.
That's true.
True. Yeah.
But that means that we've threatened him into giving them the real answer, which is that the treasure of King Akatek is on some island. There's no name for it, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
You'd think that it would be like something significant. It's just like, oh, here.
Right.
But we dock the ship. I might add, like, we had the ship flying earlier because it's a flying ship, but we're only using it to go across the ocean anyway. That's probably still faster, I suppose.
Probably, yeah.
But we're hunting through the jungle here. Plunder and Filch start to get skeptical. They're like, why did Zorobel even need us for this? Why didn't they just go out on their own?
I'd like to point out, Plunder also seemingly almost develops a moral compass.
Okay, this is obviously
not literally, yeah.
Yeah, they have him express doubts over the idea of grave robbing, which you did that already, but
the man would not give a shit.
He's trying to find an excuse not to go for it because he feels freaked out by this, and he actually Filch actually goes back to the ship to school up on what King Akatek was like.
Filch is like a big part of the reason that Plunder isn't like dead yet.
Oh, yeah,
he's actually really smart.
He's the MVP of the crew. And case in point, there's a bunch of traps, and the other MVP, Simpson, they use his cartoon physics not to disable the traps, but to just trigger them without anybody getting hurt.
That's right. Yeah, just get all the arrows stuck through you in a ridiculous manner, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And then afterwards, Simpson is like, "Oh, how did you know I wouldn't really get hurt?" And Plunder's like, we didn't. I just don't care."
I do not give a crap.
They should have had a falling anvil in there for good measure. So, the seal of Akatek's tomb is here, and it's unbroken. Only Plunder could break the seal. They make him do it. And hey, just in time for Filch to show up saying, "Hey, don't break the seal, dipshit."
Oh my gosh.
So yes, the entire reason that Zorobel wanted Plunder here was to take the fall for breaking the seal and getting cursed by Akatek.
Oh yeah.
A curse of misfortune and calamity, which are pretty vague concepts, but okay. We actually see it's almost like it's a curse of like bad luck, basically. He slips on a stair and gets his head caught in a jar. He breaks a ceiling getting it off and causes a cave-in. Gets a bunch of swords and axes dropped on him.
This is a bit much. Like, I liked when Zorobel put Plunder in their place the first time, but like he wasn't doing anything, extra rotten. Zorobel was just like, I really want this treasure. Exactly. I get the impression that all the pirates are, somewhat rotten folk, especially, if the queen of the pirates would trick their own kind like this. So yeah. I don't know. This feels a little over the top. I'm suddenly not so happy with this situation. I want Plunder to find his way out of this somehow.
I think I see what you're saying, because in the Knuckles story, it almost came across like Zorobel was the one with some kind of moral compass because she wanted to do the things that were right for Knuckles. But now this story just makes it seem like she enjoys torturing Plunder.
Exactly.
Including exiling him from his own friggin' ship because they don't want the bad luck to follow them on.
Yeah, but it's really strange because I'm skipping one page. But we see 2 pages later, another part also, he's just back for no reason.
Yeah, it's very strange that they put him out there. I guess it's because they had to stop the shark attack. They didn't want him to just die, but they have him in the... I do like the tiny boat with the rope attached is a funny visual, but yeah, he gets attacked by a shark, and then next we see he's back in the cabin. But don't worry, we've got a reject Mega Man Legends character here, Captain Tiberius,
and that must be like a Star Trek reference.
Maybe, I guess.
And he does look vaguely Klingon.
He does have the weird shit on his head, so.
And you know what? Also, his seat is very it's very Starfleet center seat esque.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know if all that's on purpose, but it kind of looks like it.
Yeah. He's another sky pirate, which I guess if we're flying the ship, then yeah, maybe that's why they pulled up the lifeboat. But they say that Plunder and Tiberius used to work together under Blackbeak, who I assume is Blackbeard but a bird, and he's coming to get him.
Yeah.
It's weird because like they show them moving fast, but then they cut back to them doing all the other stuff first. But yeah, Zorobel is like, Plunder, we have two chests here. One is an empty chest, and one is a chest with a load of treasure. You get to pick one.
Yeah, so Zorobel, as we've seen, is also not too bright, and really does seem to just love torturing Plunder, because he's like, with his bad luck, surely he'll never be able to pick the right chest, which, honestly, I didn't think he'd be able to either.
Yeah,
but no.
Okay, well, so it's really weird, because it's like, if you assume that he's going to get the wrong one, why are you doing this? What's the point?
Just to screw with him.
Just to mess with him, yeah.
I guess. But, yes, as Lauren said, he actually picks the one with his share of the treasure. He gets the right one.
Yeah.
But his bad luck does end up happening, because he takes the box, he's standing there with it, and the board just arbitrarily breaks under his wheel foot.
Yeah, so I was confused at first, but it seems that Plunder only got the treasure because in the end, holding the treasure here actually goes against them.
Right.
Because apparently the ship has a shield that wasn't introduced before, but Tiberius mentioned it. And when you throw coins in the shield, apparently that interferes with it.
I guess, which is...
Sure, why not?
You may as well have just not had a shield at that point if you're going to disrupt it the first mention of it.
Yeah.
But yes, Plunder backs up from falling over and breaks over the railing and barely keeps from falling off, but the chest opens and all the coins fall out, which disables the shield around his ships, and oh look, here's Tiberius. And so the next thing we see, Simpson and Filch and Plunder, and I assume those are other Plunder crewmates here.
Yeah.
They are all stranded on a desert island, and he's like, one more piece of bad luck and I'm gonna crack, and then Simpson drops a coconut at his head.
Giving him permanent brain damage.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is not the way I expected this to end.
Not really.
Man, injustice for Plunder. I thought he didn't even get to break his bad luck streak.
I wanted to see a character arc. I wanted to see him and Zorobel like team up, but
yeah,
instead he just gets exploited.
Also, they went through the trouble of introducing Tiberius, and they like do nothing. The fight is off panel.
Yeah, I don't get the point of
Very
introducing this character just to have him basically do nothing.
Yeah, especially since I mean, if they're setting up for future stories, maybe, but I don't remember seeing this guy a second time. I think the comic may have gotten canceled before that happened. I don't know. So, I always like seeing Captain Plunder, but this was not my favorite of his stories.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
Well, you win some, you lose some. Let's move on here to Flickies Island. Oh man, we're doing Sonic 3D Blast, you guys.
Didn't expect that.
Kitching and Elson. Tails asks Sonic for help with Flickies Island, where something malicious is brewing. And, well, we don't start with that. We start with all of the people of Emerald Hill coming home from Angel Island.
Hell yeah.
I'm surprised it's all of them. You'd think that at least some people might want to stay.
No, they made it pretty...
One person does.
Yeah, Lewis. Everyone else made it pretty clear, like, they wanted to go the fuck home.
I suppose with the Guardian robots and people like fighting them, that one is it's justification enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sonic gets a message from Knuckles and Lewis thanking him, but also they plant a little tiny seed of doubt, and we have that conflict from that one Archie issue, which is that with Robotnik gone, what do we do now? What is the purpose of being Sonic?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely predictable and reasonable given Sonic's character.
It's a fair question.
To some extent, I agree. I don't fully, though, because my answer would be, well, what were you doing before? Because the war in this comic isn't as long as the one in Archie, because Sonic grew up in that world in Archie.
Right, yeah. Here, Robotnik took over the course of however many months it was. But before that, he was just... I mean, well, to be fair, Robotnik was still there before he fully took over the planet.
Well, and he's still here now.
Yeah.
But either way, the main point of this is Sonic's kind of bored.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable. We don't get an exact timeline, but it was certainly years that, you know, he just got used to the way things were. And so it's just going to take him a while.
I had a pretty good gig going.
Hey, at least this comic isn't going to make Sonic a bureaucrat.
As we've established, yep.
But yes, he doesn't have to worry about it for too long.
Yeah, because Tails is like, hey, Sonic, I need your help. Oh, what's it to help with? Oh, it's this bird.
This bird's been talking to me, Sonic. I think Tails needs to let up on something.
He's taken the SA1 Amy portrayal. You need to help this random bird. But yes, it's a Flicky, and also Tails speaks bird, I guess.
Well, later in the comic, he expands upon it more, and it says more like he kind of understands its vibe.
He intuits it, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't actually like tweet at it.
Yeah, but
some sort of explanation, though.
It's not much one, yeah.
Not really.
But what's important is it's conflict, and Robotnik is still around. It's Robotnik. He's been experimenting on Flickies, that monster.
That bastard.
Wow, I did not expect to see Robotnik this soon again.
I wasn't expecting to see him having taken over Flickies Island.
Well, yeah, much less that.
Yeah, like I was expecting to see him relatively soon, but not like this.
Yeah. He throttles Grimer for letting that blue Flicky escape and giving their position away. And yeah, Sonic and Tails are heading for Flicky Island, which is where Robotnik has made his base of operations for now. And man, this is the most video gamey thing that's happened in this comic in a long time.
Like Archie does most of the time, this comic tends to kind of ignore the games unless it needs a character. And even then, it doesn't really...
Yeah, but Archie, I would say, had a lot of things that it called adaptations, whereas this, I don't think we've gotten... That's correct.
Yeah,
the closest thing we got was the Chaotix, not adaptation, but a story called Chaotix.
Right.
So, I don't know, there's a lot of Game Gear games, and I guess, like, Spinball in there that they could have done, but,
Yeah, but, like,
in any
we
case...
need to think about the Game Gear games? No.
No, I don't really care about any of that, so it's fine.
Exactly.
So, Flicky Island is big and ancient and empty. We're just kind of wandering around the ruins.
Yeah.
Until we find Robotnik, who is hiding out here. There he is.
This is a great panel that you pointed out before we started, Bruce, and I noticed the same thing. Sometimes the artists just make this guy look monstrous.
I love it so much. He's enormous. He's so bulbous. He's got this grimace, and I just love him saying, "Did you miss me, Sonic?"
Elson loves his monster Robotniks, and yeah, his shoulders are just like giant spheres.
No, I love it so much. It makes him so much... Because, you know, you can do just like, oh, it's just Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Robotnik, or it's just Sad AM Sonic, but, like, this makes the design more unique looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super weird, but I like him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, this era of Robotnik, especially Western Robotnik, should be weird.
Yeah, and kind of scary. Well, and I mean, that's, you know, how he's defined his art style across the whole comic. Because, I mean, you know, Sonic is identifiably Sonic, but he doesn't look like he does in any of the games. His facial anatomy, his body is slightly different.
Yeah, Sonic has been fairly unique looking.
Robotnik has a gaggle of badniks made from Flickies, and they're dangerous, and he's also got a warp ring that he's using to fish for Flickies.
Yes, once again, some more great drawings of Robotnik, as he just takes absolute glee from ripping a Flicky right out of there.
That's the panel of him grabbing and pulling on the cords. That is another great panel.
He's so excited to be evil, and yeah,
I
apparently
love that
Flickies
for
are from a
him.
different dimension now.
To be fair, have we seen Flickies in this comic?
No, we've seen normal animals.
Yeah, so this is our
Flickies
first time
are-
seeing them. Well, yeah.
It's one of those weird things because 3D Blast treats Flickies like they're something unique, even though they're in every Sonic game almost.
Right. There's a specific name for the like small animals, but I don't remember what it is.
I mean, Adventure 1 just calls them tiny animals, but
Yeah.
I've heard some people try to get minimals going, which I think is cute, but I don't think it's canon. Minimal is actually how Sonic Adventure 2 internally refers to these creatures. In any case...
You know, the word I was thinking of comes from Archie.
Oh, you're talking about Moby knees?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Kayla's been using that word.
Yeah. Anyway, Flickies make for very strong badniks. Sonic tries to spin into them, but he just bounces off.
Interesting.
Until he doesn't, I guess he just has to hit them really hard multiple times.
I'd like to point out also real quick that the badniks that Sonic is fighting, they're gray, like they were at the beginning of the comic.
Yeah, they're all chrome.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think the story does a good job at showing that it was tougher than a normal badnik, because I mean, it's a good like page of him just facing off against a single one. He's like, well, I got to put my all into it, and if this doesn't break it, then I don't think anything will. And he just barely does it. And then Robotnik is just like, very impressive to destroy one badnik. I've captured Tails in the meantime.
Yeah, he's... It's not that there's no logic to it. He essentially gave them a higher health pool, I would say.
Yeah.
And yes, he's got Tails held hostage. He's gonna kill him if Sonic doesn't submit. But they're like, that's a been there, done that if I've ever seen one. So naturally, they're interrupted by a cyborg fishman.
Naturally.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yes,
Oh boy.
I know what this is, and I am excited.
There's some interesting stuff that kind of is going to start happening now.
Out of the Mobius ring, as the story calls it, the warp ring, comes a prosecutor of the DRAKON Empire.
I absolutely love stories that the story's going one way. They ramp up the stakes. I mean, right here, Robotnik is like, I've got an army of super badniks. I'm ready to retake Mobius right now. And then it just throws a complete curveball out of nowhere.
It just goes completely derailed.
Yeah, I mean, this is what, part 3 of an ongoing story that people have been reading for 4 weeks, I guess, at this point. And just they pull a complete swerve here with yeah, an alien warrior showing up. And he's pissed. He's like, who opened our portal? Which does give Sonic a chance to save Tails, but, there's violence happening, and so the prosecutor's like, oh, it looks like it's battle time!
Yeah, Sonic isn't very good at, like, negotiations.
No.
Because the prosecutor, I think, makes it pretty clear that he's just like, hey, what's going on? I want some information. And Sonic's just like, no thanks, I'm just gonna fight.
Yeah, I would believe that Sonic the Comic Sonic is no diplomat.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But the prosecutor, he has good tech, which is to say he has hypergravity manipulation and can trap them all on the floor. Hey, it's Sonic Movie 3, 26 years in advance.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right number, but anyway.
Close enough.
He explains that the DRAKON Empire used to have an outpost here on Mobius, but they left, and they left the Mobius ring behind as a sort of alarm in case the life on this planet got advanced enough to become a threat to them.
It's really interesting.
I feel like this is a plot point I've heard somewhere, but I cannot, figure out where.
It does seem like a recurring trope, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sonic wastes no time trying to find a way to work it to his advantage by saying, him, Robotnik, he's a threat.
Yeah, true.
And the prosecutor's like, well, all right, I'll take this one in for interrogation.
And he picks Robotnik up by his shirt, but in my brain I look at it as he's picking up by the scruff of his neck.
The back
The
flap,
equivalent.
yeah.
Yeah, you pick like how Mama Cat picks up her kittens.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robotnik is hit extra hard with the high gravity, obviously. But Sonic is like, wait a second, don't take him away, because then I'll have nothing to do again. That's not what he actually says, but that's the way I interpret this. No, he's actually just like, Muggy's got to deal with their own problems.
Well,
which,
yeah.
okay.
And he's saying, like, Robotnik should be tried for his crimes here.
I don't know how much I believe you at this point, Sonic, but yeah.
And I get it. I get the idea of wanting to do that.
Yeah, but yeah, he doesn't want the DRAKON to take him, but too bad. His attack, he attacks the prosecutor in the back, which gets a chip off his armor, but he zaps him and escapes through the portal anyway. So hey guys, Robotnik is extra gone now. Shouldn't you be happy?
Yes, interesting. Lots of things to ponder as I look at the little chip off the prosecutor's armor, and yes, keen-eyed viewers would probably realize what they were referencing when they were saying, "Oh, that we left an outpost here long time ago." It was as I pointed out at the time that random Guardian story from Aquatic Ruin. Finally, we're getting follow-up on what was the deal with that. Which, hey, I always like deep callbacks like that.
Sure, yeah.
They planted a seed years in advance with that one.
It's a shame I didn't remember that.
Yeah, Sonic's gonna investigate. We're leaving off on a cliffhanger, even though it's not the end of the episode. But unfortunately, Sonic's investigation is not what takes place here in the next story, Zero Zone, Stringer and Pritchett. Instead, Sonic finds himself trapped in a strange zone and forced to follow bizarre social rules. We're instead investigating missing person reports in the desert, which have not come up before now. And we get some weird sparks that form a portal that sucks Sonic into a parody of The Prisoner. Didn't this already come up on Deep Dive Zone at some point? Haven't we already talked about The Prisoner on the show?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember when is the problem.
Yeah. I barely know that this show exists already. The fact that it's been brought up twice on this podcast for some reason.
Like, okay, at least in the case of this is a British comic and The Prisoner was a, British pop cultural piece. I don't remember what the heck it was before. Was it Sonic X?
I think it was Sonic X. I think for some reason it got referenced in Sonic X, but I can't remember where.
Which is weird, because that's the Japanese show that makes mostly Japanese cultural references.
Well, Japanese shows also like to reference the most random of things.
I mean, I guess they got Columbo in there, but Columbo was more popular, at least. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, yes. I
also have to wonder what child in the 90s would know about The Prisoner, because The Prisoner is a show from 1967.
We can't debate the efficacy of references forever. We gotta just roll with it at a certain point.
Oh, why did I know what year that show came out?
Anyway, yes, we've got idyllic British architecture, we've got esoteric rules, and we've got numbered clothes and identities that you need to assume, and brainwashing.
It took me a minute, but there's something very wrong with the way Citizen 2 is drawn. He looks completely different from the front and the side. It does not work.
No, bro just looks wrong.
Yeah, he's like a badger, but in one panel, his head is just a triangle.
Very wide neck.
It's kind of like how Sonic from the side can turn into a Christmas tree sometimes, or the front.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah, Sonic doesn't care about any of this. He's like, I'm not bothering with you people. But unfortunately, the rest of the security systems are a little more convincing. They've got Roman statues with laser eyes. They've even got a rover sentry, just like in the show, except it's pink instead of white. But yeah, they capture Sonic because I guess the reason it's pink instead of white is because it's like a bubble gum that sticks him to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But Sonic is captured, given some treatment, and assumes his identity of Citizen 7. And yes, they really just copied the Sonic 3D box art for this drawing.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
But this doesn't end up lasting long, because they're like, oh, our activities include watching grass grow and counting clouds. And Sonic's like, oh, well, I'm brainwashed, except no, I'm not.
Yeah, they just resist it because they resist it.
Yeah, it's not
Yep.
it's not much of a brainwash if it was anything at all. But, Sonic goes running, he manages to actually escape the security and manages to reach the furthest extent of the zone, which is an energy barrier that he can't get through, but it has a face because it's alive.
Yeah, it's an AI.
Yeah, so Sonic reveals that the whole zone is a solid light hologram, which, thanks for being consistent. You destroyed stuff here. I thought solid light was supposed to be indestructible.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think that other one was Kitching and this is Stringer, but yeah.
No excuses.
Either get it right or don't do it at all. I don't.
Yes, so this is a computer program created by Robotnik way back, but he abandoned the program when the zones that it created were not evil enough.
I feel like this Robotnik would, like, destroy it or punish it, not just abandon it.
Yeah, the abandonment is a little weird.
Maybe it's hard to get rid of a thing like that. I mean, it's a weird metaphysical AI. I'm not even sure how much control he had over it. If this were made as like an equivalent or like trying to make an Omniviewer copy like the Metallics did, that would almost be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Except that I don't like Omniviewer.
Yeah, at least I understand where this thing comes from, unlike Omniviewer.
Yeah.
True.
The AI did all of this, kidnapping and brainwashing people because he was lonely. How fun.
How typical.
And then Sonic's like, well, just make a new zone that's more interesting. And then he makes an amusement park. And notably absent from the construction of this is people being allowed to leave. Is that an option? I hope they got that part down.
Hopefully. Sonic, once again, enjoys a chili dog here at the end, so I guess that's just a thing now in this comic.
Yeah, they've remembered that chili dogs are, like, a thing.
It got retconned into the game's timeline, so...
It's true.
Anyway, between this and, like, The Simpsons... I saw a Simpsons episode with the parody of The Prisoner relatively recently, so... maybe I'm gonna have to watch this show at some point. Shit keeps
do a
making
review
reference
of
to it. I don't think so, but yeah.
The infinite, you have to chase the references that show up in Sonic Media podcast. It would never end.
I mean, well, frankly, then we'd have to do a review of Braveheart because we have another story here that's called Bravehog, written by Stringer and drawn by McMahon. And get used to seeing this guy because he is a new staple artist for the comic.
Damn.
When prompted about what drives his
not the
heroism, Sonic recounts
weird.
the history of his ancestors. And yes, we have to talk about the art because it is super weird looking. It is deliberately very sort of flat and like almost, I don't know what to call it.
At first it was reminding me of like weirdly stained glass, but then I realized no, it's more like impressionist art.
Yeah, stained glass or like hieroglyphs almost.
Yeah, it's like
everything is drawn. Everything feels like you're looking at something drawn from the side.
Yeah, exactly. Everything feels very like a side scroller, which I guess is appropriate for Sonic.
It's not my favorite art style in these comics, but I don't hate it either.
No, I don't think it's
I
bad.
like
It's just
having some
odd.
variety.
Yeah, I would say that I don't dislike this artist. I think we're going to... this is spoiling a bit. I think we're going to come to associate him with bad things for reasons I can't get into right now. But the art itself is not a problem. And that's not me attacking the character of the artist. It's just a thing with the qualities of certain stories. Anyway, Sonic is smashing some badniks. Do they say these are Flicky badniks?
No,
there's Flickies in them.
Yeah, no, the timeline on this comic makes no sense at all. Because Sonic is like, yes, Dr. Robotnik must be trying to extend his control outside of Flickies Island. What? Huh?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, because the last thing you saw was the first time you knew that Flickies Island was here, and he got taken away by the DRAKON.
Exactly.
Also, what
I
the
feel
hell
like
happened
this
to
comic... we almost get an explanation later for that, but not really. I feel like if we checked when these comics were released, this has to have come out while that story was still ongoing. And I think the writer of this didn't understand or didn't know where the story was going. And so they're like, this fits sort of as a side story, right? But then it was revealed that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Anywho, none of that actually has anything to do with the story. The story itself is about Sonic saving this guy in a hood. And the guy is like, Sonic, why do you save people? And Sonic spins him a legend about his ancestors. It's in my blood.
Instead of just saying, oh, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, this does not seem like the answer Sonic would give to that question.
No, he'd just be like, oh, I save people because, you know, I'm a freedom fighter. It's what I do. It's the right thing to do.
Or at least because it's fun, which is why Sonic does stuff in the games.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes, but apparently, back in the day, 600 years ago, different animal peoples on Mobius lived in segmented tribes. And there was a warmonger called King Lear, and he had hyena warriors, and he dominated, conquered other tribes. I guess it's like Roman-style colonization, like, we beat you, which means you're now a part of our society, sort of.
Yeah, basically.
But it was the leader of the hedgehog tribe, it was Bravehog, that first said that tribes should independently unite to fight the hyenas, but retain our own, like, individual identities, I guess.
Yeah.
But his own people were like, yeah, that sounds like a load of crap. But it's okay, because he went off on his own when the Fox tribe was attacked, which I don't know if you're making reference to, like, if this is Tails, but it can't be Tails, because Tails is from an alternate dimension.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But technically that's not a retcon, so whatever. But Bravehog went off on his own and united people to fight them. And so together they liberated Mobius from that guy. I don't know.
On the second to last page at the bottom, the narration says, United, the tribes fought back, inspired by Bravehog's fearless battle cry, which you see is clear off.
Yeah.
So inspiring.
I mean, maybe it was just that he was yelling to get them to fight in the first place. I don't know. But, yeah, that's the story. And then at the end, Hooded Guy reveals he's a hyena. And is like, oh, and then Sonic's like, well, you're not a dickhead, so who cares?
Yeah, this is, like, supposed to be, like, a big reveal, but, like, we don't know this character at all, and Sonic doesn't care.
Yeah.
So, what?
This is just us establishing that Sonic's not racist, I guess? I don't know.
Wow.
I sure, okay.
I didn't expect him to be, but I don't know. Yeah, just very, very... This feels like it has nothing to do with Sonic, if I'm honest.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Not really.
Because everything about Sonic so far in this comic feels motivated by the Sonic and Kintober backstory. That was enough on its own, even if I don't like it.
Yeah, adding more, like, lore to Sonic's background, like, oh, this is, you know, he has being a hero in his blood. It has no purpose.
Get that palingenesis out of here. Like, and frankly, I don't want Sonic to have heroic heritage. I want him to be cool because he's himself.
Yeah, he's cool because he's just cool.
Yeah, but hey, real story coming up. Let's look at this one. This is the Evil Empire, Kitching and Elson. Sonic and Robotnik find themselves caught up in the esoteric ways of the DRAKON Empire, whom Robotnik has led to believe Mobius is a threat towards. I worded that kind of weirdly.
You get the idea.
Yeah, but we start out and hey, Robotnik's back.
He's so large.
He has gotten really... Elson's style has evolved. But he teleports back to Mobius with some spider crab badniks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also see Emerald Hill Zone. We've got a new base of operations finally set up in this sort of tree-looking tower house thing.
Yeah.
We've got AI Kintober. I totally forgot about this guy.
Yeah, like, they introduced this guy, but he's done, like, nothing in these comics.
Let's see. They use him to reverse the Metallic's control of Little Planet. He's given Sonic information and tip-offs here and there, and I think they used him to track Supersonic's energy for a while. But yeah, it's like, I forgot he was even a thing. But they've loaded him into a new computer so we can finally see his face again. And,
not something I was particularly missing.
I don't have a particular opinion on it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he gets in the computer and he's like, it's good to be back. Oh my god, Robotnik is here!
Yep. And so, yeah, Robotnik storms in with his badniks, and Sonic's like, what? And Robotnik is like, well, you see, the DRAKONs are a very enlightened society. They recognize my genius. In other words, we made a deal, which I didn't necessarily expect this, but, like, we have seen before that Robotnik is actually pretty smart when it comes to negotiations. Like, he had a pretty convincing lie to Knuckles for a while, even if Knuckles actually knew, in the end, what was going on. So, yeah, this is cool. And once again, a swift escalation.
And speaking of Knuckles, he's come here with a new toy that the DRAKON presumably helped him build. I don't know if Grimer helped too, I don't know. But, it's a new Metallics.
Is the red one.
It's a Knuckles.
Yeah.
Remember that from like forever ago that Grimer had a blueprint?
Yeah.
I'd kind of forgotten, but I saw this like, oh wait, shit, yeah.
I was gonna say, it took a long time to follow up on.
It did, yeah.
But this one is apparently built to last and not rebel like the others did. And yeah, that's really dangerous. But this thing is a beast. It is much stronger than, or rather, it's supposedly much stronger than the other Metallicses, which I guess Sonic could handle one of at a time. But this one beats Sonic.
Yeah, damn.
So Robotnik pulls him through the warp ring, and Tails just barely manages to chase Sonic through before it disappears. But that means that we get to see the DRAKON Empire. We get to see the House of War sitting atop a load of really precariously balanced rocks.
Yes, it's all style, no functionality.
Indeed. But Sonic is here, and their Emperor is here, whose name I don't remember, and they're accusing Sonic of the crime of I don't know what.
The crime of being based.
Also, Grimer is here, so I guess Robotnik went back and got him. He just wasn't in the Flickies Island story after Robotnik throttled him.
Yeah. Yeah, later, Grimer's like, oh, I thought you were gone for good, but no. So, you can assume as much. But, no, the Sonic is being accused of destroying DRAKON technology.
Oh, right. Destroying the Sentinel.
Yeah, I just mean they spend the first several pages, arguing and mashing Sonic into the ground. But yes, the Sentinels subdue him here, and it's like, Sentinels? I know that word. And yes, this is what Sonic is on trial for, is that in that story, they say it was years ago at this point, which, fair enough, it was years in real time. When he was in Aquatic Ruin, there was a Sentinel there, and it woke up and fell apart after it realized it didn't have any purpose, even though it saved Sonic. But apparently, being there when that happened is a crime, or Robotnik is lying to them.
Yeah, I think Robotnik's lying to them. I mean, it's believable enough, because it was kind of weird that it just self-destructed. And apparently left it behind thousands of years ago, so, they might not have much record of, our old Sentinels, they just kind of fell apart sometimes. That's what the way Sonic explains it, and they're like, yeah, right.
Yeah. But they have a deal with Robotnik to reconquer Mobius, since they're like, oh, we should have kept that place under our brutal control the whole time. I wonder who's going to betray whom.
Oh yeah, this is definitely an alliance that I'm going to keep a close eye on.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But we don't get to see much of that because we're from Sonic's perspective. So Sonic is imprisoned and he's awaiting trial, which in this society is trial by combat.
I love that Robotnik is just so eager to gloat at Sonic that he doesn't even just open a window and talk to. No, he's just I'm gonna step in this cell and gloat right in your face. He's so bold here. He's got all the cards at the moment.
Good shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, he does just walk into Sonic's cell. They kind of make it look in some shots like there's some kind of purple energy barrier. Other times it looks like just a regular ass door. But yeah, Sonic doesn't even fight him because there's not much he can really do, even if he did beat the crap out of him.
Exactly.
But there is one thing we can do, which is Tails is here to help. Tails is going to have a good moment.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
In a main story, not a Tails story.
It's true, yeah.
But Sonic is like, well, yeah, but I don't really know what to do right now, so just lie in wait, all right? And it's like, okay. You know, we're gearing up. We're going to have the Coliseum battle. We have the arena. His opponent is going to be the new Knuckletalix. I don't know how to make a stupid name out of that. Metallicals. No, it's even worse. Anyway.
Metallics?
Metallicals.
There you go.
Sonic is sent into the arena, and Tails is on the sidelines. And we see that Robotnik is a little nervous around the Emperor, who's still keeping a close eye on him to make sure that he doesn't skimp on his side of the deal.
Yes. He, once again, is just absolutely having a ball as he's like, ha, with the might of the Dragon Empire on my side, I'll be able to conquer Mobius, and there's nothing you can do to stop me, Sonic. Yeah, and then the Emperor's like, well, of course, you have to keep your end of the deal. And then he's instantly deflated. He's like, oh, of course, Emperor.
I love this.
You still got to be careful.
Scared.
Yeah.
But yes, they hand Sonic and Metallix their weapons, which are keys. What are these things?
I don't know.
They're blunt weapons.
Yeah, I don't know. But we do a big fight. You know, we swing him back and forth. Sonic knocks him to the ground, but gets blasted by the chest laser. Great full page spread for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the judicial system here, because Sonic is down on the ground and they think he's out for the count, and because they think that, they think, oh, that means he must be guilty.
Yes, they sort of, despite the absurdity of it, they take it seriously within the story, which I always like. Even if you're going to have an absurd situation, at least play it straight. If that's the point of the story, which this is a more serious story. So yeah, going forward here, when we see there's a crowd of people that's watching this fight, it's being televised, and they're like, oh, I'm not sure if they're innocent or guilty. And like, as they're seeing Sonic get beaten down, they're like, maybe he's guilty. No, he's pressing his case. Could be innocent.
It's really, I really like that. It's silly, but it's funny.
Yeah.
And you know, as a weird alien society, you could make the case for it. And of course, Tails is out here watching all of this. It's amazing how much brightly colored he is compared to the others, but nobody seems to notice him. Can fish see color? I actually have no idea.
Sure.
There is a guy standing next to Tails, and there's another one on the top panel. They don't look like they're all the same species.
No, a lot of them look like they're different species.
It's hard to tell because of the armor. I don't know. But yes, Tails is like, I have to help, and he's like sneaking into the Coliseum and trying to get past all the guards, and we get another awesome 2-page spread as Sonic is having the crap beaten out of him. Knuckles Metallix is wiping the floor with him, honestly, and Sonic is like losing confidence in his chances. But in a moment of genuine awesome moment, Tails opens the door to save Sonic, and you know, that's good. And then this is I don't know if this is a callback or if it's just a coincidence or what, but we have the moment from the other Tails story because he crushes Metallix with the door.
Oh.
Yes, I thought the same thing, and I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but I'd like to think it is.
That's
and
interesting, yeah.
This is an intentional move now, so like he's learned from the past.
He's come so far.
He definitely has, because you can see that he took out a Sentinel all on his own too,
which is impressive. Surprising almost. So good shit, Tails. We like Tails.
Yeah, and Sonic is back to his old self, full force. He's like, I didn't need any help, Tails. Like, I totally could have done it myself. And Tails like, yeah, I know, Sonic.
Yeah, sure thing, bud.
Yeah, but he's not missing a beat. You know, a prosecutor comes up behind him, but Sonic's like, nope, and he spins right through the damn thing. And it's interesting because the prosecutor always says, stop, you don't understand. I don't know why.
It's because what we see in a minute here, but first let's address what happens when like their armor is wrecked. Yes. It's revealed that these are just like, I mean, they're alien fish, but they're just fish.
They're just big fish.
Yeah, they're fish piloting mech bodies, which is kind of awesome.
It's very weird, and I love it.
Yeah.
The reason the Sentinel was like, you do not understand,
I guess
is
he knows about the judgment.
Yes, the Emperor shows up with some more Sentinels, and they're like, congratulations, you're innocent.
Yeah, you won the fight, any means necessary, which means that you're free to go. And this pisses Robotnik right off, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, because before he was like, I so admire the DRAKON justice system, but now he's like, what? This is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's interesting because this story is called The Evil Empire, and obviously they're working with Robotnik, which makes them villains, but they don't seem evil per se.
Not really.
At least not innately. And yeah, I think before what I was thinking was that the guy that Sonic attacked almost, I thought that, like, he knew that some of the stuff going on was bullshit. Like, I thought he might have been the same one that took Robotnik and, like, knew that Robotnik was bad news or something, but the fact that it's just the trial result makes more sense.
Yeah. And I think that we'll have to see for sure how the DRAKON Empire pans out. But I think that there's a little bit of a difference because, like, Robotnik is pure evil. He's literally made of evil. But I think the DRAKON society is a little more complicated.
It seems like it.
Because, like, they're fully set on conquering Mobius with Robotnik. They're not stopping that. And Sonic is like, well, as long as you're allies, I'll be back. But, like, that doesn't mean that they're not a whole society of people with their own rules, and they don't, like, they view themselves as fair in their own eyes, whereas Robotnik brags about being rotten evil.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that, like, he wouldn't be going along with these results if there wasn't something they were holding over him. You know, look at him in this panel. He has both hands on his face, nearly collapsing to the ground. He's so upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, Sonic is granted free passage back to Mobius. I guess we'll have to resolve all that later. They're still allied with Robotnik after all. But yeah, no, interesting story. I guess if you've got Robotnik's control away from Mobius but still want to use the character, introducing other baddies to fight with him is a sensible opportunity. And it's fun that they have a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, it's great. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yep. And, well, that won't be happening tonight because we've got one story left and it's another filler story.
Yay.
This is No Future, Stringer and McMahon. Sonic is seemingly transported into the far future where robots rule the world. Oh no. Yeah, Sonic is out in the wherever fighting whatever, robot, Badnik. He says a new Badnik. It looks like Arms from Mean Bean Machine.
It does.
But it doesn't act like Arms because it shoots Sonic with a thing, and he wakes up in
a time beam.
Yeah, somewhere else in the year 2997, 1984. I wonder what year this comic itself is taking place. If this issue came out in 1997, maybe it's like 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's the idea.
All right. We're doing Futurama timelines, but yes, it's dystopian future. Everybody's wearing thumbs down shirts. But yes, this future is so dystopian. It's ruled by robots, as we've established, but it's so dystopian that robots not only bully people, but they're conditioned to like it.
God.
Oh my gosh. This is apparently the logical conclusion of Robotnik taking over Mobius. This story always, these comics always manage to surprise me with just the flavor of evil that they make Robotnik. Yeah, this is his ultimate goal, apparently, and wow.
Yeah, they like giggle with joy getting kicked around, and they gleefully recite tales of abuse from Badniks. It's so weird. I like the guy who's sad that he only got called a mean name, and then Sonic's like, well, I can see why, but I'm gonna fight them anyway. Sonic is pro mean names. But yeah, he breaks the robots like a champ as usual, but people get angry at him for harshing the vibe. We like being subjugated. Don't kink shame Sonic.
God.
It really reminds me of when we were last week talking about Grimer with that panel. Like, why don't the people like being slaves?
Yeah, I guess Grimer was aware of the end goal.
I guess so.
Yeah. But I think the way to phrase what all of this is like is the future doth protest too much because this behavior is utterly insane. And the one dude saying, this is how the future is gonna be, you might as well stop trying against Robotnik Sonic. And this tips Sonic off that, like, this isn't the fucking future. What are you talking about? And yes, Sonic tears away not the beam, but the tentacles that Arms was putting on him that were affecting his mind.
Yep. So it's still legitimate glimpse in... Well, okay, so apparently it was made to discourage Sonic, but I still like to think that that's definitely the future Robotnik would like.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So yes, it was an illusion, and Sonic says, yeah, nobody acts the way the people in the illusions did. But it does speak volumes about Robotnik, I think, that he is this colossally far gone, that he assumes that this insane, almost fetishistic love for being abused would constitute, like, rational or realistic behavior in anybody to ever exist, and that could ever convince Sonic.
Yep.
It's like Sonic makes a speech at the end about, like, the indomitable Mobian spirit or whatever, but it honestly feels like a non sequitur due to how crazy the ruse is. But yeah, I don't know. It's very funny, but it's very strange.
It's a weird story, but
very much
not bad. It's interesting.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
But that is our last story from that. You know, I guess as a filler story, it still gave us more to talk about than some of them.
Yeah.
But that is where we're going to be done for tonight. A little bit of a longer episode than the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and I like the DRAKONs, and I'm excited to see more of them.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we're cutting it off for tonight. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my co-host for being here. And if you want to contact us with comments, criticisms, suggestions, feedback, anything else, you can reach us at the links in the link tree in the description. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next week for a new episode. And take care.